NTNA Last Chance Scream It Out by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi everyone! In today's video I'm going to be showing you my last piece of art that I created for NTNA Season 7, and this is going to be my last chance submission, of which I was eliminated afterwards, which is, you know, that's what life is, that's fine. I'm glad I'll be able to get back to my regular routine and sleep a little bit more, so it's bittersweet. But this one really, I think, kind of explains how I am about life and how I feel about things. So it is the word enthusiasm, and for the last chance we just had to sculpt a word, so I chose to do enthusiasm because that's how I feel about life as a whole, typically. And then on the bottom of the nail there is a box that the word is popping out of, because I like to think out of the box. And then there's little balloons and ribbons and streamers and rhinestones and bright colors and glitter, and I just think it embodies how I feel about nail art as a whole. So I love this piece, even if it was my demise, that's okay. So I hope you guys like it as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well. I began with a layer of black gel polish in the background and then applied a layer of matte top coat over it just to create a very clean, almost disappearing base. And then on a nail form backing, I sketched out the word. I traced the nail first with a pencil, and then I sketched the word out so that the word would increase in size as it went up and up towards the first letter of the word. So I started out by sculpting the M, and I'm doing all of the sculpting with white acrylic. I know that in the end it's got that rainbow gradient over it, but just to create a clean base, I did just white acrylic for each letter. So after I have the M down, then I'm going to slide the nail form backing a little bit so I've got plenty of space to work, and I'm going to start the next letter, which is the S. So when you're sculpting these little letters, you want to have the acrylic be just the perfect consistency where you can easily move it, but it'll hold its shape. So there's a very small time frame in order to do that, and that does take some I guess, experience to know when to start moving it. But what I like to do is I like to set down the acrylic, and then after you set it down, if you're watching it, you can kind of spread it out, and then did you see how it's smoothed? So the acrylic starts out kind of lumpy, and then it levels out. After it levels out, wait about 30 seconds, and then start playing around with it. And that'll hopefully give you the best results. So if you just watch it, you can kind of see it like pull, like, I don't know, spread. There it goes. It's spread and then it's smoothed. And then you start messing with it. So that's what I watch for when I'm sculpting something like this, and I want to have the perfect consistency for getting straight, clean lines. Spread it out. It smooths. You can do two things at a time. See how it's smoothed out again? Okay. Wait just a second, and then you can start doing it. So like I said, that does take some experience, and different brands of acrylic have different time frames and all of that jazz, but that smoothing process is what I always look for. So I'm going to just file them quickly on the sides to clean up any lines if I need to. Then using gel paint, I'm going to create a rainbow gradient across the nails. You need to make sure that you cover each side of the letters, not the back, but like the little edges with the gel paint as well. So I'm going to start with the E, and I'm going to paint that one pretty much just red, but then I'm going to blend a touch of yellow at the base to just kind of ease into the gradient. Then for the N is going to be the next shade, which is going to be kind of a scarlet orangey color. So I've got some red that I'm going to blend in yellow. So I didn't have an orange gel paint that I was happy with. So I decided that I would just kind of mix it as I go, because you can do that. In fact, for this design, you could have just used 3 colors, red, yellow, blue, and you could have done that full gradient from one color all the way down to the next. I used red, yellow, green, blue, and purple, and pink to create my gradient. But the fact that I just had those colors made it a little easier. It didn't necessarily make the result any better. So I'm going to take my T, and that's going to start in more in like the really orangey yellow color, kind of like that sunsetty orange. That's what I always think of when I think of a bright yellow orange. I think of a sunset. And then the H is going to be more of just a yellowy yellow, a very bright yellow. And then as you're moving on from that yellow H, you're going to start getting into the greens. And as you're painting with all these colors, I don't clean my brush between every other letter. So between the H and the U, I don't clean my brush, but then I want to make sure there's no more yellow residue in the brush to start the S. So then I'm going to clean my brush because that one starts blending in the blue. Then I'm not going to clean the brush as I'm doing the T because because I can leave a little bit of that green in, but then clean it before I do the A. So I hope that makes sense, because actually that little bit of residue, that color residue in the brush, helps between the gradients of the couple letters, but you do have to clean it every once in a while just to make sure that you have a fresh start when you really start blending in a new color. So after you have the gradient going all the way down with those beautiful, beautiful colors, I'm going to take some white gel paint and add the little highlights on my letters. So this is just to make them look kind of like they're extra 3D, give them some highlights, give them some, it's almost like a speech bubble. This is a very pop art design, which isn't something I usually do. I usually don't go pop art. I usually do hyper detailed, but I wanted something pop art and just kind of light and airy. I wanted a design that made somebody smile, and I don't want you to have to think too hard. I want it to just be like a happy design, because I feel like we need more of that at the moment. Everybody just is so stressed out these days, whether you're working or not working, there's stress on both sides of it. And I just felt we just needed something happy and simple. So that's what I went with, and I'm very glad I did. I won't change anything. But then on a little ruler on the millimeter side, I'm going to be marking a piece of wire at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 millimeters and cutting it off. So I've got these little pieces of wire that get longer and longer, and then I'm going to use those to create little platforms to make my letters stand up off the nail. Then again, on a nail form backing, I'm going to be making my little box. So I have it sketched out on a piece of paper again with a pencil or a pen or whatever you like to sketch with. It all works. And then I'm going to use that as my template to sculpt my pieces of the box. So sculpt each side of the box separately. Same thing, kind of spread or move your nail form backing down a little bit so you have plenty of space to sculpt each one, just like that. And it's the same process as you did with the letters as far as waiting for the acrylic to be the right texture to start manipulating it, wait for it to smooth out, and then start pressing in the sides. So you're going to make 4 little trapezoids, and then you're going, actually no, they're parallelograms. 4 parallelograms, sorry, my 2nd grade shapes class is coming back to me. 4 parallelograms for the sides, and then 2 skinnier parallelograms for the 2 flaps of the box. Assemble your box, start by gluing the pieces together, and then after you have them glued, you're going to take some more of that beigey tan acrylic and use that to just smooth out the sides so that there's no weird gaps or weird lines or anything. And after you have them all smoothed out and perfect, you can file it if you want, or you can just call it good. Attach the side flaps like so, and then you have this really nice little box, and then you can glue that to the tip of the nail. And then we're going to be sculpting the ribbons with rainbow colors of acrylic. So I did 3 colors at a time, so blue, purple, and pink, and then yellow, orange, and green. So you put them down, stretch them out into these long strips of acrylic. And then once they're 95% set, so you can manipulate them and turn them without ruining the outside shape, you're just going to want to curl them into a very, natural, kind of relaxed little curl. Just like so. You don't have to overthink it too much. Just make them little ribbons. And then after you have all of them done, you can place them in the box. I just dipped the ends of each ribbon into a touch of nail glue and then place them in the box. After they were all in, I did secure them in place with some clear acrylic to make sure they weren't going to fall out on me, but the nail glue does hold pretty well because these are very lightweight. They're very skinny, so even though they're fairly long, the weight isn't there. Now I'm going to be sculpting 3 balloons with clear acrylic on a nail form backing. So the reason I use clear acrylic is because I wanted my balloons to be see-through, kind of like the way a regular latex balloon is. So I'm just going to start by sculpting them out like so, and then after I have them so far, I'm going to be adding the little end of the balloon, the little part that you tie off, which is basically just a tiny triangle at the end of each balloon, just like that. After they're all finished, you can pop them off the nail form backing, and then we're going to take a piece of fairly stiff, it's jewelry wire and it's still really thin, but a little bit thicker jewelry wire, and I'm going to be gluing that to the back of each balloon. This is going to make our balloon string. And then I'm going to bend that string into a gentle curve and then figure out how I can stick it behind the letters and secure that in place. And I went straight for acrylic to secure it in place because it is a little heavier. The balloon is just a bit more weighty, and you don't want it to be a delicate thing that you could break off easier or have it like tip. So then I'm going to bend some more wire into little swirls. I made 3 of these, cut them off, and then fill in the design in the background with these little swirls. After you've got all those in, I'm going to be painting the wire with black gel polish. And you may be wondering why I didn't do that before. It was a last minute decision because I didn't like the silver. But then I'm going to take some pink, blue, and purple glass gel, and I'm going to tint my balloons with those colors. Using a glass gel allows the clarity of the balloon to still show up, as well as giving them a little bit of a sunglass tint. Add some highlights with white gel paint. And then to finish off this design, I'm going to be attaching some rhinestones onto the little swirls. So I'm going to place down little dabs of jewelry gel in a bit spaced out on those swirls. And then on each one, I picked a color theme to go with, and I'm going to start placing down those gems. So the first one I did is all kinds of greens. So some of them are a little bit more yellowy, some of them a bit more blue, but just I wanted that one to be in greens, and I also did one that was blues and pinks. So that is it. I love this design. I think it's just so bright and cheery. I'm not disappointed at all that I'm not in the finals of NTNA, and if you guys want to hear more about my NTNA experience and thoughts, I will be doing a live video next Friday. The time is to be determined, but I'll make sure to post plenty of warning for you guys. So check back for that if you want to hear my tips for future competitors and how I thought the whole experience went, and I'll see you next time. Bye!